My name is State Representative Ryan Spain. I live in Peoria, represent the 73rd Legislative District in the Illinois House. We're here to talk about taxes, and we've entered the time of the legislative cycle with about 2.5 weeks to go, where proposals begin to gain steam throughout the building here in the Capitol in Springfield. Last week, progressive groups floated a proposal for $6 billion in new taxes in our state. And this week, a new emerging and potentially catastrophic proposal is being floated to fund the Brandon Johnson bailout for Chicago Transit Authority to the tune of more than $1 billion. And that is a new tax in Illinois on services, the services that families use all throughout our state. So as you know, our current sales tax for the state of Illinois is based predominantly on goods. It's taxed at a rate of 6.25%. New proposals that are being floated this week contemplate expanding now that same 6.25% tax to services throughout the state of Illinois. It would be a massive infusion and increase of taxes upon families all throughout our state. What are the services that could be included in a massive sales tax increase? They could be potentially a very long list. It's massive. And so things like streaming services on TV, landscaping services, employment services, repair services. There is a long, long list of things that now our families would be on the hook for going forward throughout the state of Illinois. And it makes an impact on small businesses as well that are responsible for performing these important services throughout all parts of the state of Illinois. So today we're here to raise awareness about this particular important change that is a late-breaking item for negotiation in this legislative session and is being floated as a way to come to the rescue and bail out the operational subsidy that is needed for transit services in the Chicagoland area. When we talk about this type of impact, we know that things can be very fluid moving through the end of the legislative session. And what we need to do now is raise awareness to families throughout the state of Illinois, to hardworking taxpayers, to businesses that perform these vital services in all corners of the state. We want you to be on alert. It is time for taxpayers to guard your wallet in the state of Illinois. We are already taxed to the max. And now we know that that tax burden, which is already the highest in the country, could potentially get much, much longer, as you see here. Today we're joined with very little notice because this is a late-breaking item that we learned about just yesterday with some business owners here in the Springfield area. They were contacted last night or early this morning and have agreed to join us to really promote the need to stop the tax on services in the state of Illinois. We encourage viewers to go to the website stopilservicetax.com to make sure that you are registered for alerts and can receive updates so that we can work together to defeat this massive tax increase that will cost billions of dollars for families and businesses in the state of Illinois. Today, we'll hear from a few of the business owners that would be impacted, and more importantly, their customers, the Illinois taxpayers that would be impacted. I'll first begin with Dean Graven, who has twice served as the chairman of the State Home Builders Association and currently runs Dean's Landscaping and Handyman Services here in the Springfield area. Dean, I'll turn it over. There you are, Dean. It's over to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Yes, my name's Dean Graven, owner-operator of Dean's Landscaping and Handyman Service. But I've been with the Home Builders for 43 years, and I want to thank Representative Spain very much because I've been down this road one other time with another governor, and the service tax is not a good idea. A new service tax is a terrible impact on the housing. In Illinois, we talk about affordable housing. This makes housing unaffordable. It's just not going to work. Home builders rely on so many services, plumbers, electricians, drywallers, painters, the list goes on and on. Every time we call for a service, who's going to pay for it? The consumer. I think the consumer tax is one that would take our state to We're now 47th in the nation in home construction. We'll go to last place. We don't need this. I want our associate elected officials to know that bringing and reducing costs should be the focus, not increasing the cost on home ownership or even for renters. They call it revenue. Us normal people call it taxes. We've got to stop taxing us. We cannot survive. We lag in so many ways that I can't list any more than what he has. A service tax is bad for consumers, it's bad for home ownership, and it's actually bad for all of us that are trying to help our children. I have 6 grandchildren that probably will not be homeowners in their lifetime. It's not attainable. So I commend this group, Representative Spain. We need to stop this, and I will go through the state home builders and our local associations throughout the state to help reduce and stop this tax. I'll turn this over to Carla.
Good afternoon. My name is Kayla Edwards, and I'm one of the franchise partners for Express Employment Professionals in Springfield, Bloomington, and Jacksonville, Illinois. I want to thank Deputy Republican Leader Ryan Spain and Representative Joe Sanowski for hosting this press conference and inviting me to speak about the dire implications that a sales tax on services would have for businesses across Illinois. Every year, thousands of businesses and tens of thousands of people across Illinois rely on the services provided by temporary staffing firms like mine, who connect people to jobs and connect employers to their workforce. And the employees that we serve pay nothing for our services. We operate on thin margins. Adding a new tax on top of the various regulatory burdens that already exist in Illinois will literally cripple the Illinois staffing industry and those who rely on our services. The proposal I've seen for this tax says it will cover all employment and executive search agencies. This doesn't include the temporary staffing services that would be the broadest possible meaning and encompass employment services for long-term jobs as well. Small, medium, and large employers, including nonprofits and government agencies, rely on employment services like these. The state of Illinois agencies are one of the largest users of temporary staffing in our state, so this will have an impact on each of them. This tax will dramatically raise the cost of doing business, force employers to close or leave Illinois, and cost jobs across industries. This is not good for the people, this is not good for the workforce, and it will be a blow to Illinois' economy. This is not good for business, and this is not good for families. Please reject this tax service. Thank you, and I will turn it over to Jack Geiser.
Good afternoon. My name is Jack Geiser. I own Clean Cut Painting and Handyman here in Springfield. Just had a couple points to talk about on this subject. I think that first and foremost, this is definitely going to have a huge impact on small business and working class trades. We see how this directly targets blue collar service providers. So whether you're a painter, electrician, or one of the many listed here on this list here below me. So just people who work with their hands for a living. Most of us aren't huge corporations. We're local employers trying to stay afloat. This tax punishes Main Street, not Wall Street. It increases costs for working families as well. So the average homeowner will not pay 6% more to maintain their home. That's a new tax on roof, fences, decks, drywall repairs, painting, and more. It discourages families from fixing safety issues in their homes or keeping their homes in good shape in general. And this also drives work underground as well. It's important to note that people will avoid hiring legitimate contractors to dodge that tax, meaning that they're going to hire unlicensed contractors or cash-only workers, which leads to a dangerous, unregulated market and puts licensed insured companies out of business. This kills job creation in the trades, so many of us are hiring, training, and growing the next generation of skilled laborers. This tax forces us to raise prices, which means fewer jobs, less work, and more layoffs, especially during slower seasons for seasonal businesses. And we're also getting double taxed in some ways. We, as a business owner, I already pay income taxes, workman's comp, and unemployment insurance. So this is just another tax to add on to that list. And I think that that's a very slippery slope, and there's really no telling when it's going to end and where. I appreciate you guys, and I'll turn it over to representatives.
Thanks so much. Representative Joe Sosnowski, the 69th District. I reside in Rockford, which runs along the Wisconsin border and goes from Rockford to Huntley. I just want to talk briefly about the burden on families, working families in Illinois. And I just want to kind of point to three particular studies. There's plenty that we could bring up, and there's plenty of information that's been documented about Illinois being a high-tax state. But number one, there's been a study that's been out for decades, Rich States, Poor States, which ranks Illinois 46th in the nation as far as poor economic outlook. I think we might have moved up one spot, but it's only because California got even worse than we did. We've been at the bottom of the barrel of that study for many, many years. Nonpartisan Tax Foundation 2025 State Business Tax Climate Index ranks Illinois at the bottom quarter of states in the categories of sales tax, property tax, corporate tax, unemployment insurance taxes. All things that cost average families and businesses more money than other states. And then finally, a recent Wallet Hub report released this spring, Illinois' taxes in 2025 will cost the average household $13,000 or 16.5% of their annual income, one of the highest in the nation. And of course, property taxes, number 2 in the nation, the highest. Even Speaker Welch has realized we have problems. In a recent interview, he referred to his party as the tax and spend Democrats. He understands that we're taxing Illinois residents too much, and we've got to stop. Illinois families can't afford, and they should not have to pay an additional service tax on these things. As these folks all mentioned so eloquently before me, this is an extremely high cost. And if we look at an average family of 4, this could easily cost into the thousands of dollars in additional costs for an average family in Illinois. Under the last 6 years of the J.B. Pritzker administration, the state budget has exploded. We've gone from $39 billion in revenue to more than $53 billion and almost $54 billion in this year's upcoming budget. It is not a revenue problem in Illinois. It is a priority and spending problem, and that's our money is going out the door. One example that I've harped on over and over, and I think colleagues from both sides of the aisle understand this, but we are paying things like non-resident health care to the tune of nearly $3 billion now that we've put into not just health care, but non-resident services. These are extremely high costs. The health services that we pay for now have no deductible, no premium, no out-of-pocket costs, better than any health plan anybody in the state of Illinois has. We've got to cut back on things like that, runaway spending, before we tax our average working families in Illinois.